I think
All
yeah. So
good?
we've got lots of maple trees. So I went out the other day and I've tapped on trees to try and do maple syrup this year. I think I don't know if you can see that, but I'm gonna try my hand at that.
All
Yeah. So
good?
we've got lots of maple trees. So I went out the other day and I've tapped on trees to try and do maple syrup this year.
Nice.
I think I can see that, but I'm gonna try my hand at that. Yeah. So we've got lots of maple trees. So I went out the other day and I've tapped on here.
Nice. Let's try that. Can you hear me now?
I can now, yeah.
You can hear me now. All
Yeah.
right, good deal. So we're trying something a little bit different today, in that um, streaming not only here on Zoom, but live on the YouTube machine as well. So hopefully things will be smooth going over there now that I've got the settings, I think, figured out. But for those of you that are catching up with us on YouTube, first and foremost, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. My name is Jay Handler. I am a coach and a consultant. I've been working with chambers of commerce, trade associations, and independent business owners for the last 20 plus odd years. And my mission is very simple. I'm here to create 1 million jobs. Yeah, I was homeless on the streets in Orlando, Florida at the age of 18, 19, 20 for about 9 months. And while everything's fine now, it was a very, very difficult time, as you can imagine, being homeless in Orlando. I don't know if you've ever suffered from sleep deprivation. I mean, serious sleep deprivation. I don't mean I went out and partied too hard last night and I didn't get much sleep. I mean, days, maybe even weeks, where you did not get into that REM sleep, that REM, that rapid eye movement sleep, that restorative sleep that your brain needs. But I can tell you that living on the streets, that was really not something that was going to happen all that often. So while I wasn't seeing things, I wasn't hearing voices or anything like that, I was at the same time feeling this sense of dread. I just knew in my heart that if anything bad was going to happen to me on the streets, tonight was the night. And, I just, again, I felt like I needed to get to some place that would be more safe, more conducive to being homeless, and couldn't get into any of these shelters. I ended up deciding that I needed to find a church, a synagogue, a mosque, didn't matter. I wasn't brought up in a particularly religious family, but I just knew, man, you would have to be some kind of depraved to, steal or rob or harass, a homeless person sitting, on church property. So sure enough, found a little church, bright yellow paint job. I'm told it's still there. I'm told this paint job is still bright yellow. But I found this church and it was lit from the ground all the way up to the top of the steeple. Bad neighborhood, so it was lit up pretty well. I went looking for some place where I could kind of hide, curl up, whatever. And I found some bushes alongside the building. I crawled in behind the bushes. There was enough room for me to kind of crawl back in there. And I lay down in the dirt and, closed my eyes and thought, I'm going to try and get some kind of sleep tonight. It was too hot. It was too humid. It was too bright. And the bugs were eating me alive. Put all of that together and I'm not going to sleep. But I'm pinning the responsibility of me not going to sleep on this noise that I keep hearing off to my side. I can recognize, I'm familiar with this noise. I just can't identify it. right? It's one of those things. I mean, again, sleep deprivation is a mother, but I just knew I've heard this before. I know that sound, but I can't quite place it. I just remember thinking that I've got to make whatever it is that's making that noise go away so that I can finally get some sleep. And I remember rolling over onto my right side, and I reached around and I found something heavy, a rock, a brick. I don't know what it was. I don't recall, but it was heavy. I could feel the weight of it in my hand. I rolled back over on my left side and I cocked my arm. My intention was I'm going to toss this projectile over the top of the bushes in the direction of this offending noise, scaring away whatever is making the noise so that I can go to sleep. And in what some would call a moment of clarity, that's the only word I can come up with. But in a moment of clarity, I realized that there was a strip of light above the blades of grass below the bottom of the bush, right? So I could kind of see through there. And I thought, well, I've only got this one projectile. I better make my aim right. So I kind of tilted my head a little bit so I could look through that little strip of light and find what it was that was making the noise. And I did. I found it. And as soon as I saw it, my heart left my chest and just fell into my stomach. I dropped the rock. It hit me in the hip as I stood there, or well, lay there, looking through that crack and saw a family of four underneath a tree about 30, 40 yards away. It was a man and a woman and two kids, a boy and a girl. I would guess they were probably in that, 3 to 5 year old range. And they were hiding underneath this tree, just like I was hiding behind this bush. And the noise that I had heard was the mother talking to them softly, maybe singing, I'm not sure, but talking softly to them, trying to get them to go to sleep. You can't imagine the feeling of sitting there holding this rock with this intention of lobbing it in their direction and then realizing what I had almost done. Fast forward 30 plus years. I don't know anything about what happened to those kids past that. I don't know if they lived. I don't know if they ever got off the street. I don't know if they led great lives or terrible lives or anywhere in between. I don't know anything about them, except that they had nothing to do with whatever it is that put them out on the street that night. And they absolutely had no power, short of those adults that were with them, to get themselves back off the streets. They were reliant upon those two adults. The one thing that I believe in my heart to this day is that what that family needed, what most homeless families need, what most homeless people in general need, is an opportunity. They need a job. They need revenue. And it's really hard to come by because you're sleeping outdoors. Your clothes are old and they stink and you haven't had a shower and you haven't brushed your teeth. And so it's really difficult to get these opportunities. But I knew in my heart then and every day since that my mission in this world was to create jobs to try and end childhood hunger and childhood homelessness. And I've done that by working again with chambers of commerce and trade associations who work with dozens, hundreds, thousands potentially of business owners, helping them become better at what they do so they can help more businesses. And then eventually segueing into working directly one-on-one with business owners just like yourself and working with them on how to grow and scale their business. Because here's what I know. I have no intention, no desire whatsoever to be the next Sam Walton, the next Elon Musk, the next Steve Jobs. I don't want to hire a million people. That has absolutely no interest for me. But in order to create a million jobs, which by the way means creating millions of opportunities, right? Because every job creates a dozen opportunities below it, right? When I offer up a job and you take that job, you're leaving employment typically someplace else for a better opportunity with me. That leaves a hole at your former employers that somebody else can move up into. and somebody else can move up into their position, and on and on and on. We create more than a dozen opportunities with each job. So my goal, my mission on planet Earth is to help business owners grow sustainably, scale their business, increase their profits, reduce their expenses, whatever it takes to be more successful as quickly as possible. Because I know that when your business starts to grow, you're going to have no choice. You're going to need to hire additional bodies. And that's my goal, is to help you find ways to grow your business to the point where you need to hire that next person. Again, I don't expect that anybody here or anybody watching this video is going to be able to hire homeless folks right off the street. I get that. But again, when we create those opportunities, when we create those jobs, it's that trickle down effect, which doesn't work in any other regard as far as I'm concerned, right? Trickle down economics never worked. Trickle down opportunities, in this case, actually does work. Because as those opportunities become lower and lower and lower on the food chain, we're getting closer and closer and closer to the point where that homeless family, that homeless individual that needs that opportunity can get it. So that's my mission. I'm on a mission to create 1 million jobs, to help end childhood hunger and childhood homelessness. And as we start this session, remember, we're here every single day. This is the first time that we've done this streaming live on YouTube at the same time. So we'll see how this works out. I think it's going to be a little difficult at first. I think that there were some issues with audio, but we're going to give it a shot and see if that draws audience. I believe it will. What I'd like to recommend is, go to LinkedIn, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to whatever social media profiles you're comfortable using, and come find me at JayHandler, right? I'm JayHandler everywhere we go. JayHandler, everywhere we go. Find me, connect with me, and if you look at some of my previous posts, you'll see where we host this session, these masterminds that we call Fight for Your Business, every single day live on Zoom from 11 a.m. Eastern until 1 p.m. Eastern time, New York time, for those of you listening outside of the US. I would invite you to check out some of those other social media posts so that you can find the link for today's session and come join us live if you can. If not, don't worry about it. I will put the link to register inside this video once we're done recording, so that at the bottom, you'll be able to scroll down and register to join us for the live sessions. And I hope you'll join us for those, as Dr. Kayvon has. Good to see you, Kayvon. How you doing, brother? I guess I probably should have prefaced that with
good to see you. I'm here. I'm just busy, but I'm listening in. Thank you.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, I should have made sure that you were actually available before I started thinking about, hey, let's say hello to Dr. Kayvon. But there he is. Guys, by the way, if you're looking for somebody to help you get back into shape, lose some extra weight, make yourself healthier so that you can live longer, so that you can enjoy life with your family longer, Dr. Kayvon is your guy. He's my health coach, and I strongly recommend that you reach out to him. And again, you can find him very, very simply. He's on the social medias as well. Thrive Wellness, I believe, is the link, is the tag everywhere. So
yeah, thrive.wellness dot. Now I can't even remember. Thrive.wellness.solutions.
Solutions. There we go. There we go. But if you, again, go on any of the socials and look up Kayvon, Keyvanehli, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Close, Jay. Eghbali. Eghbali. Thanks,
Eghbali.
Jay.
Thank you. I appreciate you correcting me on that. That's helpful. But yeah, check out Dr. Kayvon. He's an incredible guy, and he's on a mission to help save 1 million lives. He wants to help people who, like me, were struggling with weight and all sorts of other potential health issues, to take some of that weight off, get back in shape, get ourselves back to a place where we're going to be able to be around. I want to be around for my granddaughter's weddings. You know, I want to be around to dance with them at their weddings. And that's never going to happen if, you know, I'm at 250 pounds. Now at 175, I'm good to go. Anyway, back to work. One of the things that we try and do here every single day, and again, it's Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1, is find ways that we can help you increase what you're doing, increase your revenue, generate more money coming in, close deals faster, find ways to reduce your expenses, find ways to raise your rates, find ways to generate a position of thought leadership where you become the go-to and people come to you seeking your advice rather than you having to go out and get them. And one thing that I want to start with here, and I'm doing this pretty much because it is day one on YouTube, or on YouTube. I want to go through a very simple exercise that all of my clients go through. Kayvon's gone through it. Scott, who was here earlier, has gone through it. Any of my clients that come in today, I'll introduce you to them, but they've all gone through this process. There are a couple of different steps that I would hope that you would take. But the first, and I think most important of them, is understanding the value of your own time. You know, if you don't value your own time, nobody else is going to value it either. You're going to get taken advantage of constantly because you don't place any value or don't know what the value of your time is. And so therefore, you're going to be busy, not productive. Right? I want to help people stop being busy and start being productive. Quit wasting time, start making money. Right? So that begins with understanding the value of your time. So grab your calculator. I suspect you're probably watching on your phone anyway. You can grab your calculator, open it up. And I want you to come up with a number. Now we're talking money. All right. The amount of money in whatever denomination you use in your country, wherever you're from, I want you to come up with the amount of money that you would have to earn in a 12-month period to have your best year ever, to really be significantly better shape than you were the previous year. Okay. Now, listen, if you've never made $1 million in a year before, please don't say $10 million. That doesn't make any sense. If you've never made $100,000 before, don't say 1.5 million. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's look at maybe 20% over your best month ever as kind of that range that we want to play in. Okay. Your number is going to change. But for right now, that's what the number should be. We're going to set that goal 20% higher than the best month or the best year I've had running my business. Once you've got that number, I want you to put that into the calculator and hit the divide by sign. And then just listen for a second. Every single one of those 12-month periods has 52 weeks, right? It's just math. It's just numbers. It's just the way the dates work. Now, I don't expect you to do anything that I won't do myself. I don't expect you to work 52 weeks a year. That's insane. Surely you're going to take a vacation at some point, or you're going to have, sick kids at home that you got to take care of at some point, or you get ill at some point and just need a couple of days. So let's think about how many weeks out of 52 potential are you going to work over the next 12 months, right? What are you able, willing, and committed to doing? How many weeks? Whatever that number is, 48, 42, 49, 50, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But put that into the calculator now and hit equals. And what you're looking at now understand, this is not about how you price your services or your products. This is just about how you value your own time. Okay. But what we've identified now is the value you place on a week's worth of your effort. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Hit the divide by sign and then listen to me again. Every single one of those weeks has 7 days. You know what I'm going to tell you? I don't work 7 days a week, and I don't think you should either. I want you to come up with the ideal number of days per week that you're going to work. So if we're working this week, I know I can count on you for 5 days, 4 days, 6 days, whatever the number is. Whatever that number is, put that into the calculator and hit equals again. And what we've got now is the value that you place on one day of your effort, one day of your work product. Now, you know what we're going to do? Hit the divide by sign one more time. And this time I want you to put in the number of hours per day that you are able, willing, and committed to working on those days, those weeks when you're in the office. How many hours are we talking about? Now, again, you're going to watch, what's it called? Shark Tank or Lion's Den or Dragon's Den, depending on what country you're in. And you're going to hear people like Mark Cuban say, well, if you're not willing to work 80 hours a week, then you're not willing to have a job. You know what, Mark? Wrong. Wrong. Flat out wrong. And okay, yeah, he's much more successful than I am. But he's talking about different types of businesses. He's talking about businesses that are looking to be this mega scale business, 7 and 8 and 9-figure businesses. For the businesses that you and I are running, what we're really looking for, what I hope you're looking for, is what I like to call life-work balance. I want you to have enough time at work to get the job done and then some. But I also want you to remember that life comes first. That's why I call it life-work balance as opposed to work-life. So if that's what we're going for, working 60 or 80 hours a week is not conducive to a life-work balance. I don't think we should be working 12 hours a day. I don't think we should be working, any more than 8 hours a day. And in fact, maybe not even that much. But whatever it is that you are willing, able, and committed to doing, that's the last number. Put that into the calculator, X number of hours per day, and hit equals. And what you've got now is the value you place on 1 hour of your time. Now, keep in mind, this is not about pricing, all right? Pricing is something completely different. This is just about how you value yourself. So that now, when somebody asks you to, put out a fire, when you're running around doing 1,000 things, we can look and see, are we being productive? Is this worth the amount of time I'm putting into it? Once you've got that number, the fun part begins. I want you to grab, where's mine? There they are. I want you to grab a pad of sticky notes. And I want you to write in the top corner somewhere or in one of the corners somewhere, today's date. And then in big letters at the top of the page or at the top of the sticky note. God, it's been a long week. I want you to write down, I value my time at, or my time is worth. Okay? I value my time at, or my time is worth. And then I want you to put the amount of money that you came up with in the end result. Okay? But I want you to put it down as money, right? So if it's $20 per hour, if it's $200 per hour, if it's $2,000 per hour, I want you to put, I value my time at $200 per hour. Write it out with the dollar sign. Put the per hour in there. Put it in there so that you see that. When you're done with that, I want you to do the exact same thing on 9 more sticky notes. I want you to copy that. So now you've got 10 notes. And I want you to take those sticky notes. And just like I've got mine right here attached to my computer, it's right there on my base, on my monitor stand. I've got another one in the bathroom, in my bedroom, right above the faucet at the sink. It used to be up in the corner higher up so that it wouldn't get splashed, wouldn't get wet. But I realized, you know what? If it gets splashed, if it gets wet, I have to replace it. And that means I have to go back, grab a sticky note, and go from my hand to my brain to the paper. It's going to help lock in the commitment, your commitment to that number, right? I've got one on the refrigerator because, well, Fat Boy likes to eat. And so I find myself in front of the refrigerator far more often than I'd like to. So I've got a reminder there. You might want to put one on the back of your cell phone. And if it overlaps a little bit, if the sticky note is longer or wider than the phone, great, leave it. Because guess what's going to happen? Eventually, it's going to lose the adhesion. It's going to get ripped up, torn up, shredded up, cut up, whatever. And when it looks like garbage, you're going to think to yourself, you know what? I can't walk around with this phone with this piece of, paper on there that looks like garbage. I'm going to need to write it again. So write it out again and replace it. But make sure that you've always got my time is worth. I value my time at X number of dollars per hour. Make sure that that's in front of you at all times. Make sure that you've dated that. Because 6 months from now, you might want to go back and look and see, did I shoot too low? Was I aiming too low? Now, here's the thing. Once you've got that information, once you know that number and you start committing that to memory, you start making that yours. Now, when somebody asks you to do something that is below your pay grade, it's much easier to see. Yeah, I don't think that that's worth doing, right? I'm going to either delegate that to somebody else or I'm going to delete it completely. And we're just not going to do that. That's not something that needs to be done in the business. Which leads us to the second thing that I want you to do. I want you to create what we call a do, delegate, delete. I want you to do a do, delegate, and delete exercise. It's real simple. I want you to grab a pad of paper and a pen. And for the next couple of days, I want you to write down everything that you do. I mean it, seriously. Everything that you do during the day, write it down. You checked emails 3 different times, write down. I checked emails at 1, at 12, and at 3, or whatever your timing is. I don't know, I went 1, 12, 3, but whatever. Write it all down. Put it down on paper and be as absolutely religious about it as you can. The better your data, the more information you put in there, the better it's going to be. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to do the second half. What I'm going to tell you is come back here on Monday and tell me that you've done it. And I will tell you what the next step is so that we can get your calendar back right again. Here's my promise to you. If you will do this, if you'll give this the diligence that it deserves, I'm going to give you 80% of your calendar back. Think about what that means. That means I'm telling you right now, without knowing who you are, without knowing you at all, that there's a very good likelihood that 80% of your time is being wasted, that 20% of your time is being used productively. If we can identify the stuff that isn't working, the stuff that you're doing that is not generating revenue, and we can get that off of your plate somehow, we give you back 4 full days worth of effort, right? You're only doing 20% of productive work right now. So if we look at 5 days a week, that's 1 day. You're doing a complete day's worth of valuable work, and everything else is kind of running around with your hair on fire, putting out fires and not doing productive work, just busy as hell. So if we take all of that off of your plate, now you got those extra 4 days. Can you imagine if we spent all 5 days, all 8 hours, whatever, again, whatever numbers you just came up with, can you imagine how much more profitable you would be if I gave you back 80% of your time and said, now here's what you should be doing to be 5 times more productive? How easy would it be to 5 extra revenues if we were just focused on revenue generating activities, things that really move the needle, eliminating everything else, and amplifying the amount of time and effort that we're putting into doing that work? That's what I'm going to show you on Monday. But again, you got to do the work first. You got to grab a pad of paper and a pen, and you got to commit to writing down everything you do throughout the day. Do that for a couple of days, and then come back on Monday and show me that you've done it. Just, hey, Jay, here's mine. I've got mine. I'm ready. What are we going to do with it? And I'll walk you through the next part of the exercise so that next week you can work at full potential, at full capacity, instead of 20%. That's phase 2. Phase 3. This one's going to make you unbelievably happy. I promise you this, you're going to appreciate phase 3, probably more than phase 1 or 2. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to figure out how much money per month you're going to need to make in order to hit our earlier goal, right? That number that you wrote down before, that was about, 120% of the best month you've ever, or the best year you've ever done. Let's take that number and divide it by 12. so that we get a monthly number. Let's say your number was, I'm going to make $100,000 this year. Okay, well, if I divide that by 12, that means I need to make $83.33 a month. $8,333 a month is what I'm trying to get to. All right. So figure out what your number is. In order to get you to the goal that we talked about, how many dollars per month, how many pounds per month, how many whatever per month do you need in order to hit that? Put that in the calculator. Now comes the hard part, but it's the part that's going to pay you money. You ready? I want you to consider what your average customer ticket currently is. Okay? If you're not familiar with that terminology, here's what I'm looking for. You have 100 clients. On average, how much are they spending with you per month? On average, how much are they spending per month? If they stay with you for 3 years, then great. We have to look at how much they spend over that amount of time, divide it by the amount of months that they typically, hang out with us, and that's our number. But look at your clients and figure out what's the average. Get close. If you don't have the data, start collecting it, but figure out what's close. Once you know that, once you know what your average client is going to bring in each month, now we're going to divide the two numbers, right? So if I want to get to 10,000 and my average client is paying me $500, I divide those two to find that I'm going to need what? 20 clients a month. 20 clients a month at $500 a month is going to average me out to 10 grand a month. That's going to get me to my $120,000. The idea here is that when you're just out there looking to get new business, you're looking for everything. And you can't focus on everything. The human brain doesn't work that way. You can't find anything if you're looking at everything. What I want you to be able to do is focus on a number that makes sense to you. So when you divide those two numbers, your monthly need by your average monthly ticket per customer, you're going to find out how many customers you really, truly need. Now, for most of you, you're looking at that number and you're thinking, man, that's too high, right? I can't have that many clients. I don't know how I'm going to get that many clients. That's a scary number for me. Well, guess what? You've got a different problem. It's not about the number of clients. You aren't bringing enough money per client to get you where you're going. So now we're going to have to look, if that's the case, we're going to have to look at how do we raise that average customer ticket, that average month, that average receipt. How do I bring that higher? If you're a restaurant, that might mean selling more alcohol per table on average. That might mean, selling an extra dessert per table on average. For those of you who are doing services, it might mean adding a little bit more service at a higher rate in order to get to that higher ticket. Maybe that's all we're talking about. Maybe your rates are just too low. I would consult with your coach. I hope you have a business coach. And if you don't, well, okay, let me be your de facto coach. Reach out to me and tell me, the number I've got is too big. It's not comfortable for me. How do I get it lower? There's only two ways to lower that number. One is to decrease your goal amount, and we're not going to do that. Two is to increase the average customer ticket. Simple as that. And there are 30 different ways we can do that. I want you to get to the point where that number, the number of clients you need, is so low that you look at it and say, okay, seriously, that's all it's going to take. That's the goal, because I want you to be at ease. I don't want you to be stressed out over, oh my God, I got to go get 100,000 people to talk to me so that I can get 100,000 people to potentially present to, so that I can get 10,000 people to talk to, so that I can. That'll blow your concentration. That'll blow your motivation. But if I tell you that in order to get to a $10,000 a month, all you need to do is get 5 clients at $2,000 a pop. That might make life a little bit more easy. Now you might say, well, man, I can't get anywhere near $2,000 average ticket. Okay. Reach out. Let's talk. I'll bet you we can get you there. It doesn't have to be 2 grand. It doesn't matter what the number is. I just want to make sure that the number of customers you need in order to get there is no more than 10 or 12 at the max. Smaller businesses, we don't need 100 clients. We need 5, we need 10 to pay us on a consistent basis, to make the most money we've ever made, work fewer hours than we've ever had to work to get there. But if you haven't done the math, then you're just guessing, you're just hoping. And that's not going to help. So I want you to stop guessing. I want you to stop hoping. I want you to stop running around like your hair's on fire. I want you to quit being busy as hell and start being productive. Because that's how we're going to take your business from where it is today to 5x, to 6x, to 7x. That's how we're going to double, triple, quadruple your revenues. That's how we're going to make you the kind of money that you need to make. That's how we're going to get you where you need to go. So that, I mean, listen, I'll share pictures of all of my travels with you. You want to see my pictures in Kenya or in Italy or in Pakistan or Afghanistan or Dubai or Cape Town, South Africa, or I mean, anywhere else? I'll show you the pictures. I'd rather help you make the money and go take those trips yourself. I'd rather you go experience it for yourself. And the way that's going to happen is by identifying the value of your time, eliminating needless, unnecessary, below your pay grade shit off of your list, off of your calendar, and identifying the real number of customers that you need so that you can effectively go out there, close those clients, make that money, and get that life-work balance that you want. Make sense? Is that valuable? Would getting those 3 things done make you more comfortable, put you at ease when it comes to revenue generation, when it comes to, man, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to scale to the next level? How am I going to break through this plateau? Whatever you're dealing with, these 3 things are made, custom designed to help solve that problem for you. Right? That is one of the frameworks that I work with when I'm working with my clients. It's one of the frameworks. We have to understand the numbers. Once we've got that, we can start talking about the foundations of a sustainable business. We can start talking about your message. But before your message, we have to understand where you're going to find clients, because you can't just talk to clients or prospects regardless of where they are. You have to identify where they are, because you're going to use different language, different modalities, whether you're communicating with people on, well, YouTube or Zoom like we are now, or Facebook or LinkedIn or email marketing or digital or e-commerce or what, doesn't matter. But each of them has their own different flavor, their own different needs, their own different algorithms. And so we're going to have a different message potentially for each one of those. Well, okay, you want to figure out the medium, the where you are. Where are you going to find your clients? But well, you can't do that until you figure out who your client really is. So we have to go back one more step to your market. Who is your ideal customer? You'll hear us talk a lot about ICP, your ideal customer profile. You'll hear us talk about avatars, your client avatar. You've got to know more about your client than you know about your own family. You have to understand them at a level that you probably don't understand anybody else in your life. You've got to know the demographics, sure, but you've also got to know the psychographics, the sociographics. You've got to know their buying behaviors. You've got to know their wants, their needs, their fears, their concerns. You've got to know how they make decisions and what's important to them. I put together a workbook that I'll put a link to it in the comments as well. But I put together a workbook that it's 8 chapters long. with 165, 175 different items that you could find out about your client, about your ideal customer. The more information we've got, the more prepared we are, and the better our message is going to be, because we understand the people that we're talking to. We understand the language they speak. We understand the way that they talk about the problems that they're having. We understand the problems that they're having. And we understand that we have a solution. We understand how to talk to them to deliver that solution as clearly, as cleanly, as responsibly as possible, so that they make an easy decision to start working with you. That's what we need to do. But before we can do any of that, we have to figure out your mission. We have to figure out what problem is it that you're solving, that enough people have not only have the problem, but have the need and the ability to pay to fix, to solve, eliminate that problem, right? So once we got that first phase done, phase two, we're talking about your mission, your market, your medium, and then your message. If you own a business, or if you're a marketer right now, and you're out there putting together marketing messages without knowing your mission, without having a complete understanding, in-depth, complete understanding of the psychology of your market, if you don't understand where you're going to go to find them, to talk to them en masse, your messaging can't be right. It just can't. It has to include all three of those things in order for your message to be on target. So that's phase two. And in phase three, the framework is very simple. Scale, eliminate, scale. What we're going to do in phase three is we're going to work with you to help you scale up by niching down. How to scale up by working fewer hours. How to make more money by having fewer clients. And we're going to work one-on-one or in a group setting, whatever makes the most sense for you, to get you to that level, to get you to phase three, so that we can start working specifically with you on exactly what the process is going to be to take you from where you are today to where you wanted to be when you started your business in the first place. If that's exciting, make sure that you go down to the bottom. By the way, Thomas, Azuka, Kayvon, just so you guys are aware, we are simulcasting right now for the first time ever on YouTube, trying something out. Yeah, Thomas, you told me to do some new stuff. I'm trying some new stuff, man. So we are on YouTube for the first time live. So for those of you that are on the YouTube, not on the Zoom call, because we are live on Zoom as well, you can join in there. So we're going to have some conversations with you. But you can go to any of my social media profiles and find the link for today's session if you want to come in and join us. But it's the same link. You're going to find a registration link that allows you access to these masterminds every single day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern until 1. But if what we're talking about makes sense, if this is helpful to you so far, if you need help getting to a place where you can work fewer hours and make way more money doing it, if all of that is what you're looking for, I want you to go down here, down below, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, like, share, comment, right? 4 things: subscribe, like, share, comment. Do those 4 things, help us get the traction that we need, and I will give you all of this right here in these sessions every day, free of charge. You can come as often as you like, free of charge. My gift to you, because you're going to help me solve my problem. You're going to help me meet my mission, accomplish my mission. Because if I can help you grow your business just enough that you need to hire even one more person, your first hire or your next great hire, you're helping me create 1 million jobs. Yeah, I have products. Yes, I have services. Sure, I would love to take your money and I would love to help you make more. But that's not what we're talking about right now. This is free of charge to you and anybody that you think would need the kind of help, the kind of coaching that we're going to be doing on an everyday basis. We've been doing this for almost 3 years now. We started off on Clubhouse. We did 2+ years, 2.5 years on Clubhouse until Clubhouse decided that they were going to completely change their entire system and take away from everything that we had done. So we left Clubhouse. We went over to Twitter, to X. We had problems over there. Not mechanical problems, technical problems, where for whatever reason, my X, my Twitter app, wouldn't let me start these spaces the way that I wanted to. We wouldn't start until 11:30, 11:45, because I couldn't get the room open properly. I was there, but I couldn't invite anybody else. Nobody could see me. Nobody could hear me. So we left X about 2.5, almost 3 weeks ago now, and we came to Zoom. And today, because we have the ability to do so, we're on both Zoom and YouTube Live as we speak. So if you're on the YouTubes, make sure you go down, give us that like, that comment, that share, and then subscribe so that you'll get all of this content every single weekday. If you want to come join us on the lives, I'll put the link down below. Again, it's not there today because this is episode 1 as far as YouTube is concerned. But if you go to any of my social media, go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn, go to Instagram, go to Twitter, it doesn't matter. You're going to find the link to register for this session every single day. And I hope you guys will come. And I hope you'll share this. I hope you'll share it out there with your friends so that they can come in and get the benefit as well. Let's check in with some of the folks that are here. We've got Azuka, we've got Scott, we've got Kayvon, we've got Thomas, we've got Charles, all on the Zoom, all live with us. Guys, who wants to jump in first, man? I would love to hear what you guys are doing. And even more importantly to me, I would love to hear what issues you're having, what challenges you're having in your business that we can help you out with live on screen right now. Anybody want to jump in?
Jay, I just want to say, this is awesome. I'm so glad you're on YouTube. I think YouTube's a phenomenal platform. You're inspiring me to do the same and to also broadcast via YouTube as well as, any other panels. Would love to know what platform you're using to do this, and then maybe I'll ask a question.
Yeah, well, so the platform's really simple. It's straight through Zoom, right? So when you're on Zoom, if you go to the very bottom right, you're going to see the 3 dots, right? The 3, in this case, they're horizontal, sometimes they're up and down, but in this case, they're horizontal. And it says more. Click on that, and it'll allow you to live stream your Zoom on, let's see what they've got. I know it's Facebook. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. All I can do is stop the stream now, so I can't see. I believe it's LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, are the 3 that they've got built in. So you can go live on any one of those 3.
That's amazing. But just one, right? Just one, not more than one.
Just one, doing it this way. Now, if you want to do more than that, you can use something like StreamYard, right? And I've used StreamYard with some success. It's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more difficult. Here, all I have to do is just run a Zoom call. It's done. And running a Zoom call means I'm also running a YouTube live. There's not a whole lot extra there.
Yeah, that's awesome, and thank you. I just want to encourage anyone who may be listening to this now or later on. I can't tell you how much I have learned from this man, Jay Handler. Honestly, being a part of your network has expanded my reach. It has given me daily motivation, and it's just been phenomenal. All the things I've learned so much about AI from you. I recently used it in a huge way to create some marketing materials, all thanks to you, brother. So thank you. It's been awesome.
Well, listen, I truly appreciate that. I really, really do. I can't tell you what that means to me. Look, at the end of the day, I don't want to just be here talking to hear myself talk, right? I want to be here making a difference. I want to be here helping you guys make a difference. That, to me, that's the only thing that matters. It's the thing that matters the most. So I want you guys to be able to work with what we're doing, to be able to take what we're doing and actually utilize it in some simple ways to get yourself moving ahead. Hopefully that makes some sense. Hopefully that makes some sense. What I want to see long term is your business growing to the point where I no longer can help you. I know, but that is my goal. I want desperately to get you to the place where you just don't need me anymore. You've moved well beyond that. And we'll get you there. That's my promise to you. We'll get you there. Now, I can't do it alone, right? Cannot do it alone. But with your help, we're going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen. That much, I promise you. All right. With that said, I open it up to you guys. Questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, concepts, you name it, whatever you want. We're on for another hour, and it's over to you guys. No questions? Nobody's struggling in their business right now.
I'll ask another question.
All right.
So, I run another business on this, in addition to what I do with coaching for Mission 22 veterans, as well as my own private clients. And so lately I've come across this challenge of just not having the best employees. There's about 20 employees, and I'm just curious, thinking about hiring full-timers, but the business is seasonal, so there's months that are really busy, months that are not as busy. Any thoughts about perhaps Indeed or any other platforms that I could get really high quality, serious employees? Because I hire a lot of students, and the younger generation, some of them, definitely not all, there's some really incredible humans there as well, but some of them are just not interested in working, just not committed. So, and this is something, if you feel like it's best to touch upon one-on-one in our private sessions, let me know.
Well, we can do that too, but let me give you some generalizations anyway. All right. Before I talk to you about platforms, I want to ask you this. With all the students that you've hired over the number of years that you've been doing this, how many students do you think were quality employees?
I would say, the number has definitely decreased over the course of the last 10, 15 years.
Okay.
So, but I would say quality, serious quality, maybe max 5%. So out of 100.
Okay. So number one, that's way too low, right? You're bringing on people that, if 95% of your employees aren't the right people, then all right, we got a problem that we need to fix. I would go back and talk to, and this is something, it's funny, Scott and I were just talking about this yesterday, but I would reach out to those employees that that did well and ask them, who do they know that they would recommend? You're looking for somebody with the same work ethic. We're pack animals, man. And so, we hang out with people who tend to be like us. Think about this for a second. Here's a little psychology game for you to play. All right. I don't know who's listening, but whoever you are, wherever you are, I want you to think right now about your 5 closest friends. Write them down if you need to. Who are your 5 closest friends? Now, hopefully they don't live with you, right? But regardless, your 5 closest friends. And I'm going to tell you some things about them that may surprise you that I know. I'd be willing to bet that the 5 people you list when I ask you for your 5 closest friends, that they drive a car very similar in price range to your car. And it's probably very similar in style to your car. I suspect that most of them, if not all, live the same way you live. If you're living in an apartment, chances are they're living in apartments. If you're living in a house, chances they're living in a house. If you're living in $100,000 house or a $500,000 house, chances are they're living very similarly to you, right? If that's inaccurate, let me know, but it's not, right? I mean, 80% of the time, that's going to be dead on. So if you're looking for somebody to do something, look at the people who've done it already. If you have, 100%, well, let's change that. If you have 95% of your employees that, aren't really up to the task, well, number one, we've done a poor job of hiring, and that's fine. I mean, you would admit that anyway. We haven't got the right people. We've been going to a lowest common denominator kind of thing. And all right, that's fine. Some businesses, that's just where you're going to be. But let's identify the 5% that did work out. And let's ask them who they know. Because the people that they refer to you are going to be people just like them. They're going to have the same work ethic, typically. They're going to have the same drive, typically. They're going to be on time, like your other employee was, typically. I mean, it's just the way that the world works. It's the way that our brain functions. It's why we connect with people. If we're particularly, if we're on time all the time and a friend of ours is always late, don't we tend to hang out with them less and less and less? Because it's frustrating that we're always on time and they're always making us wait. So that's where I start. Now, if you're looking for more than just hourly employees, right? Seasonal hourly, then all right, fine. We can go to Indeed. We can go to any of the major platforms. My guess is that we would do really well, Kayvon, if we revised the copy that you're utilizing. My guess, if you're getting 95% of your hires are below your standard, right? They're not who you would have hired if you didn't have to, right? Then we need to rewrite the job description before we start putting it back out there again. Because here's what we know. If you put the same message out there, I don't care where you put it, if you put the same message out there, you're going to get the same results, right? You're going to get the same type of people responding to that ad for the same reasons that the others did. And you're going to get the same results. So before we worry about what the platform is, before we worry about where we're going to put these job offers or these placements, we got to make sure that our messaging is right. Just like with anything else, right? We have to go back to the beginning. What's your mission? Well, my mission is to hire 10 people who are, mature, responsible, on time, have some soft skills, can deal with customers, in a polite way and aren't going to impact my business negatively. All right, great. If that's the mission, to attract 10 of those, then all right, who's our market? Well, who are we going to market this to? Do we want students, college students, which is what you're talking about, or do we want recent grads who maybe are looking for something a little bit more their speed, right? Maybe because they're no longer college students, maybe they're not hanging out at fraternity parties every weekend and not able to come in on Mondays. We can eliminate a lot of that by going from student to alumni. But again, we've got to look at the person. We got to look at the market that we're going after. Who fits the description? Once we understand that, then we can figure out where they are, right? If they're recent graduates, might be as easy as going to the college, going to the university where your students are coming from, going to their job placement office and saying, hey, listen, I've got opportunities, but here's what I'm looking for. And make them give you the best people. That might be your medium. And then we figure out what's the message going to say. What are we going to say to attract people to send us a resume or to fill out an application or come by and interview in person? Keep using the messaging that you've got, and no matter where you put it, you're going to keep getting the people that you're getting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, those are great tips, and I'm definitely going to change my advertisement for recruiting new people and just be really specific on the type of qualities. I'm definitely also going to go back to some former employees or current employees who are the stellar employees who are really dedicated and hardworking and punctual.
Yeah.
Because that's it's hard. It's not easy to find that caliber. That's why I mentioned potentially 5% end up being really phenomenal people.
Right.
But I want everyone to be that level, and I'm willing to pay more because one person like that can literally take the place of 1.5 regular people. So thank you so much. That was big help. Appreciate it.
No, you bet. I mean, listen, let's take it a step further. Who else do we know that has that kind of work ethic? We don't necessarily have to go to the recent college grads. What about people that you know in the community that are respectable, professional, soft skill retaining? I mean, all of these things. How hard would it be to reach out to some of them and say, hey, listen, keep your eyes and ears open for me. I'm looking for younger people. Maybe you got a son or a daughter, or maybe you know of some younger people that, maybe they interned for you at some point, or you've, known their families for years. But if you know anybody who fits this description, this is what I'm looking for, and I'm willing to pay extra. I'm willing to pay more than the market value for the right people. I'm telling you, everybody out there, ourselves included, everybody wants to be the hero, right? When somebody says something wrong, don't you immediately want to correct them? Especially if they don't realize that they've said something wrong. Don't you immediately rush to their aid? If somebody says, hey, I need your help, aren't you more likely to pay attention to them, even for a couple of seconds? So when we reach out to people, we say, look, I'm looking, I need your help. This is what I'm trying to, I'm paying you the compliment. I'm giving you the respect of saying, listen, I know you to be a good employee, an honorable employee, somebody that, if you were 20 years younger, I'd want to hire in my business. So I assume that you hang out with similar people. And I assume that some of them have kids that are, in their 20s that might be looking for this kind of an opportunity. Utilize the connections that you've got, but make sure you're not using all of your connections. We want to use the ones that specifically are going to give us what it is that we're looking for. If you've got friends that are not punctual, let's not bother asking them. If you've got friends that don't have the soft skills that you're looking for, let's not ask them, because they, don't recognize that they're falling behind in those categories, or they do and they just don't care. Either way, it's not who we want. So hopefully that helps. What else?
Yeah, hugely. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, no, of course. But listen, we can talk more about this specifically when we get on our next one-on-one. By the way, for those of you that are listening in either on the YouTube replay or on the Zoom replay for that matter, Kayvon, not only is he my coach, but I'm his. And, I've worked with Thomas, I've worked with Azuka. So, when we're talking about, hey, let's bring this up in our next one-on-one, that's what we're talking about. Is that we have these one-on-one calls, we have these opportunities to talk to one another and really work specifically on the issues that you're facing. And that's, again, my goal, so that I can help you grow that business, increase your revenues, your opportunities, your capacity. Simple as that. What else? Again, if you are listening in on YouTube after the fact, right? I can't do it right now, but After the fact, I will put all the links that you need in the description. So you can just go right down below, check that out. You can get the link for the registration so that you can become a regular contributor here. You can join us live in the Zoom so that you can talk, you can ask questions, you can be part of the show. Would love to have you there. There'll be a link down below. Make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share. Those are the 4 things. That's all I ask. I'll continue to do this for free every single weekday, just like we have for the last almost 3 years. Gosh, wow, it is 3 years. But I ask you for 4 things in exchange, and they're 4 dirt simple things that you can do in seconds. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Do those 4 things and keep coming back. We'll be here every day, 11 a.m. until 1 Eastern, New York time for those of you outside the US. It's 10 after the hour now. We're in hour number 2. And again, if you've got questions, feel free to jump on the Zoom and ask them out loud, and we'll do our best to work with you. Tomorrow, hopefully, I will have another moderator that'll be watching the YouTube live, so that if there are questions there, we can answer those questions as well. But for now, we'll just have to get there. Azuka comes on camera. That means Azuka's got something to say. I know that. So, Azuka, tell me how things are going there in Lagos, Nigeria today, and what are you struggling with today?
Things are going really great. Thanks, Jay, for going live on Zoom and YouTube. I think it's really great. But yeah, what am I struggling with? So here's the thought that I have in my head. I'm thinking of starting some form of marketing training for people in marketing and sales in certain types of companies here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am struggling with what the best approach is at this moment. If to reach out to the CEO or the CMO and say, hey, I want to offer a free training for your marketing and sales teams. Will you be willing to take me up on it or something like that? And see what they say. Or just send in a proposal and say, I want to do a training for you. This is what's going to cost. What do you think about that? So I'm struggling, with what approach to go with first, either to go with the free and then sell them on something paid afterwards, depending on the, what's the English now? The response or the feedback I get from the training, on the spot feedback, of course, during the training. If the sales and marketing team, they show up and, they participate and they love the training, that'd be the perfect time to pitch and say, okay, we can do this for much longer, for let's say a 12-week period, if you would want, and see if they would bite. The other aspect is to just send in a proposal and say, this is what I want to do for your company. All right. So I see you.
No.
All right.
Here's the thing. I mean, you can send in a proposal, but you and I both know that 99% of those aren't even going to get read. Right? So, I mean, you're doing a ton of work for no reason. So let's think this through for a second. Did you do the work when we were talking about how many clients do you need? Did you do that math?
Not quite, but at this point, I would say I need 5.
5 clients
Yes.
at a certain price would bring you as much money as you need to not only live, but to be doing well.
Yeah.
Okay. So I like the idea of offering them, the I'll come in and do it. I don't love I'll come in and do it free, but because it's brand new, because you're starting and you're rebranding yourself and you're going to be talking to people that probably don't know you very well yet, there's nothing wrong with taking the first few jobs free if you're comfortable doing that. Again, you're going to give them overview. You're not going to give them tons and tons and tons of specific. You're going to give them overview with maybe an example or two. Kind of like what I did in the first hour here, right?
Okay.
We're talking to a new audience on YouTube. So I introduced myself. I talked about my mission. I gave an overview of what I do and what it looks like that they could apply in their own worlds. But then I did 3 or 4 exercises that showed them how I can help them. Now, if you're going to take that approach, I mean, again, whether you charge a small amount for it or you realize, hey, listen, nobody's going to let me do this at cost or, for a cost right now. I've got to offer it for free for a little while to get my name out there. All right, I'm okay with that for the first month or two. I'm okay with that for the first 5 or 10 clients. After that, though, we got to go back to making money, right? Even if it's a small setup, listen, I'm not going to try and convert money into into Nigerian. You guys are what, pounds?
Naira.
Naira. I'm not going to try and do that, but here I might suggest to somebody in the US or in Canada, look, offer it to them at $250. Right? I mean, that's a low price for somebody who has multiple employees that they want to put in front of a sales and marketing opportunity, right? But free, low cost, whatever. And there are a couple of things that you need to make sure of in order that this is going to work. Okay. Number one, the person that hires you, whoever it is that makes the decision, has to be in the room when you're presenting. Okay. Has to be in the room because you want them to see what you've done. You want them to see the impact you've had on their staff. You want them to hire you back for a longer, more expensive engagement. The next thing that you need to do, knowing that they're in the room, is when you're presenting to this group, you've got to make sure that they're telling you this is valuable. Right? Do you notice what I've done? I mean, and I've done it with you guys a lot. Right? I'll ask you, does that make sense? Is this helpful? And what do I get? I get the hearts, I get the thumbs up, I get the, oh yeah, absolutely, that kind of stuff. Great. I want the person that hired me to come in to hear them, their own staff, saying, yes, this is incredibly valuable. Then we can start making some subtle hints. This isn't something that we can do. We're not going to be able to do this whole thing in this session. We don't have that kind of time. But maybe if you guys find value in this and you want to have me back, maybe we can do this, as part of a larger program. Get them excited, and when they seem excited about something, tie that to, I need to come back. Right? Ask them once you've had 3, 4, 5 opportunities to say, great, well, you know what, maybe if Dave over there will bring me back in, for a larger engagement, we can do some of these other things. We can really get deep dive into some of these other things. Does that make sense? Dave, what do you think? Does it make sense? I mean, put him on the spot. Dave, I don't know, man. They're saying they want me back. Maybe we need to talk after this. Have fun with it, joke with it, but it's not a joke. It's not a joke. What you're doing is you're showing, number one, you already suggested and convinced this person that you're going to bring value, or they wouldn't have brought you into their sales and marketing meeting anyway. They wouldn't have put you in front of their staff. Now you're getting great reviews live on stage in front of their audience, in front of their staff, and you're getting them to say, oh yeah, Dave, we need Azuka back. How soon can we bring him back? What are we going to do? If you can get them fighting on your behalf inside the client business, you've got what I call paladins or brand apostles. They're screaming, clamoring, man, we need more from Azuka. That's going to help me make more money, make more sales, be better at my marketing, be better at my job, get an advancement, get opportunities, whatever. And when they're in there singing your praises, It's going to be very, very difficult for our hiring manager, for the person that brought you in, not to bring you back.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a whole lot better for him to get pressure from them than to get pressure from you. Right? Pressure from you looks like a salesperson, and we don't want to do that. Pressure from them looks like this guy's a consultant. And you and I both know consultants get paid a whole lot more than anybody else for the exact same information. So, you know, treat yourself as a consultant and be there to help their staff achieve whatever goal you promised the buyer, you know, the hiring person, that you were going to get them, but then leave them wanting more. You know, that's going to lead to return visits. That's going to lead to quicker money and more money. And, you know, the sooner you can get to, look, I'm not doing this for free anymore. The sooner you can get to, look, you're going to pay me $100, $250, $500, $1,000. I mean, again, you're going to continue to go up in scale as you get busier, right? If everybody says yes to 100, then okay, we got to raise our rates. I'm getting too many yeses, right? They would be willing to pay more. So we're going to up our pricing again. The more you charge up front for that first visit, the more you're going to be able to charge on the back end when they hire you for the longer engagement. So we want to work for free as little as possible. And we want to work for less than we're worth as little as possible. I would make sure at the very least, you know, if you're not doing it for free, if you don't have to give it away, if you've got some people who will hire you, you know, because they know who you are from other, you know, aspects, then let's make sure that we're charging at least what we've said the value of our time is, right? So if you did the value of your time and you figured out, okay, I value my time at 500 Nira per hour. Okay, well, then that really probably needs to be the price that you're going to charge for an hour presenting to this group, or somewhere in that ballpark. You know, because again, I don't want you feeling like you're being taken advantage of or you're giving away too much for nothing, because that's going to be discouraging, and you're just never going to appreciate that. So, you know, make sure that it's worth your while, either because you're going to be able to sell from the stage, like I was talking about earlier, or you're going to get your money up front. Make sense?
Yeah, makes a whole lot of sense. I asked because last month I was in a call with a CEO, and he brought along his social media manager. A few days ago, I was on another call with another CEO, and he also brought his own social media manager as well. So social media is marketing, but there was nobody from sales. And at that point, I was like, I should have asked him to bring somebody in from sales. So we're all in the room, and then we're looking at how we can drive both marketing and sales at the same time.
Right.
So that was what I noticed from both meetings. And yeah, I like the idea of charging up front, but that would depend on the team size, because some people are probably just working with just one person. Some others have a team of about 8 to 9 people across marketing and sales at the same time. So there's going to be a little bit of balancing in that sense to do. But yeah, I'll figure it out.
Well, and
Thanks so much.
no, absolutely. Again, be the consultant here.
Sure.
Right. Ask them, what are you struggling with? I would start off with, when I'm working with a company, typically these are the struggles that they mention to me that I can solve. Right. So go straight to the problem you solve and, ask them, do you have that problem? I mean, I assume, just because most of my clients do, that people in your industry, this is a typical issue. Is this something that you deal with on a regular basis? It is. Great. Well, listen, here's how I would fix it. Here's what I'd like to propose. But otherwise, yeah, I want you to play consultant. I want you to play the role of, helping them understand what they need to do in order to make the money they want to make without you, right? They got to hire you first. They got to have you first. But we want to make sure that they understand that you're going to solve a problem that they have. So if you understand them, if you understand their industry, then you know what challenges are probably going to come up. You know what they're dealing with. You know the language that they speak. You know what they're struggling with. Azuka, most of the time when I'm talking with newer business owners, they're really frustrated about the fact that they had this dream, but didn't realize that there were so many skill sets that they were missing when they started their business. Most business owners didn't go to business school. They didn't go to college to get a business degree. They had a great idea and they jumped out there. And that's fantastic. When you can identify the problem like that, now it's so much easier for me to interact effectively, to engage effectively with you. But I've got to know the problem, and I've got to show them that I already know the problem. I don't need them to tell me, here's the problem we have. Can you help me fix it? No, 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 no. The consultant says, these are the typical problems. Which ones of these are you dealing with? I know how to help you with that incredibly specific issue. Let's go. Set yourself up as the consultant, not just a salesperson, not just a expert or guru, but set yourself up as the consultant. Because number one, like I said, they're going to trust you more. Number two, they're going to pay you more. But you coming to them and telling them the problems that they're dealing with, or, these are the problems that I typically see. I worked with chambers of commerce and trade associations for, since 2012. And one thing that I found is that virtually every chamber of commerce out there has the same issues. They all want three things. Fortunately for me, they all want the same three things. They want more money. They want more members. They want more influence over their community. So, okay, now I know all I have to do is come in and talk to them about my three areas of expertise. I'm here to help you make more money, have more members, and have more influence over the community that you serve. I know that's going to resonate with virtually anybody that's running a chamber of commerce, a trade association, period. By saying it, I demonstrate that I get it, that I understand, that I'm an expert in their industry. By having 3 or 4 or 5 very specific examples of ways that I can help, I show them that I also have the expertise. I'm not just familiar with your industry, I'm an expert. Just a couple ideas. Just a couple ideas.
Thanks so much, Jay. I'll take it all on board and start working on those clients.
Well, listen, reach back out. Let me know how I can help. And, when you're ready to launch, let me know, man. Keep me up to speed.
Sure thing.
Love it. Tracy,
Thanks,
good to see you. Don't know if you're available to speak or not, but we'll recognize the fact that you're here. Just so you're aware, we're doing something a little different today in that we are broadcasting, simulcasting, not only on Zoom, but also on YouTube Live. So people can be watching on YouTube. They can be here in Zoom paying attention and actually interacting with us, whichever. But just wanted to make sure that you knew that before I told you to, speak up and say hello. You may not even be available to speak. Tracy's one of those that is working nonstop in a quasi retail environment, so she may not be able to speak at all, all the time. But another incredible person, the most popular florist in all of Toronto, 3 years running, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. And I'm hoping, Tracy, that you are finally coming up to the surface for a little breath of air. I know yesterday was probably mayhem, but hopefully today is the day that you start to recuperate, recover, and regenerate a little bit. Make sure you get some sleep. What else is there, guys? I'm leaving it open. I'm leaving it to you. We can talk about literally any challenge that you're having in business. We can talk about any issue that you're having, any questions that you have about how to, why to, when to do something. Throw them out there, man. I'd be happy to answer. I'll just go off and continue doing my my monologue if I need to. But man, I'd much rather answer questions if you guys have them.
Jay, if no one has a question, I can ask a question.
Go right ahead.
So I've been thinking about, providing a public service in the form of complimentary, like no charge, knowledge. There's individuals doing it in my field, which is healthcare, in the form of podcasts. There's people doing it in the form of blogs. I mean, there's so many different formats. But one format that I really enjoyed, which was simultaneously when I met you through Clubhouse, was a network that I still have my network, on my Clubhouse badge, the Health Network. That was phenomenal. Unfortunately, with all the changes in Clubhouse, that group did not stay around. So I'm curious, would you think that a platform or a format where I and maybe 7 other doctors, coaches, etc., want to provide complimentary education, knowledge, inspiration, motivation to help people with their health challenges, would you feel that something like that would be adequate to do it once a week, say for a couple of hours? We used to have a huge turnout